Hey everyone, my name is Olga and welcome to my channel. Once upon a time I used to be addicted to sugar. Every day I had to fight a battle where one part of my brain would crave sugar like crazy and another one would yell at it, "Stop! Stop!" Guess which one used to win? That's right. I would end up eating a number of chocolate snacks, get that fuzzy feeling of momentary satisfaction that sugar usually brings, that then was followed by regret and promises to myself never do it again. That kind of mental battle continued for many years until I firmly resolved to quit sugar for good in the end of 2019. I tried to quit sugar unsuccessfully and semi-successfully many times before that, and so I knew what I was up against, and I knew that the journey wasn't going to be easy, but I decided to embark on it anyway because I absolutely despised my life being controlled by that thing. So my attempt to quit sugar in 2019 was successful, so much so that I went without it for the entire year, and I filmed a video about my experience which will be linked in the description down below for you to check out. Before we proceed any further, I want to leave a disclaimer here. I am going to share my personal experience and story. I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a nutritionist, and I'm not a psychologist. I just might be wrong in my opinions, guys. And so this video is for informational purposes only. Let's get started. Why did I say that my life was controlled by sugar? Well, because when I was hooked on it, it sure felt like it was. My sleep pattern was affected by sugar, my mood, energy levels, focus, appetite, everything. Not to mention those sugar cravings that would totally take over my attention, making my mouth water as soon as I thought about that chocolate snack sitting in my pantry. Yeah, that was bad. So what had changed in order for me to finally be able to quit sugar? And why did I have so many unsuccessful attempts? It was my mindset that stood in the way, and once it shifted, it felt like a veil was lifted, allowing me to see more clearly. Of course, I had what I guess I can call a physical addiction to sugar. What I mean is that I partly craved sugar because my body wanted that fast energy, plus it tasted so good, you know. But looking back at it, I now can clearly see that the biggest roadblock on my way to being sugar-free was my mindset rather than pure gustatory satisfaction. When my mindset shifted, it changed my perspective and relationship with sugar for good. And I will get to it a little later in this video, but first I want to talk about what was that mindset that didn't let me quit sugar successfully for many years. It was a combination of a few things, actually. I was caught in the loop of self-pity, guys. Basically, it went down like this. Every time I had a mental debate about having or not having sugar, part of me would say something around the lines, well, I have been working so hard and I don't see any results. My results are too small comparing to the effort I put into it. It's okay for me to have some sweets, I deserve it, so let's have it. I'll quit sugar when I reach my goals, but now it doesn't seem like I'm getting any closer, life isn't fair, pantry, here I come. Everyone else seems to be successful, but me. I have a right to console myself and have some sweets. It's so easy to quit sugar for so-and-so. They are so successful. They must have no worry in the world. I will quit sugar when I reach this height. But now I simply need this piece of chocolate, or maybe the whole bar. It was a never-ending cycle of self-pity that would play out in my head every time I felt even a tiny bit upset, sad, frustrated, or simply bored. Each one of these emotions, however faint or intense it was, would eventually lead me to that pantry. And each time I'd tell myself that I'd quit sugar when I'm successful and hence stress-free. It was a self-feeding cycle where thoughts about not being successful would trigger self-pity and then cravings. Or negative feelings would trigger thoughts about not being successful, and then cravings would follow as means to make myself feel better, and it would just go on and on and on. I used to eat sugar every time my mood fluctuated, even a little bit. Afterwards, I'd tell myself that I'd quit sugar when I'm successful because, in my eyes, success somehow would eliminate all the causes of my stress, frustration, irritation, and so on and so forth. In short, I kept thinking that when I'm finally stress-free, I would quit sugar. This way of thinking carried on day after day for many years. It sounds kind of silly as I'm putting it all into words right now, but when I was locked into that mindset, everything I just mentioned made total sense to me. To sum it all up, I found a way to justify my sugar binges. Basically, every time I had a mental debate with myself about having or not having sugar, I would find a million of reasons why I can have it just this one time. Being nervous, being frustrated, being semi-frustrated, being in a bad mood, being in a semi-bad mood, being in a not-so-good mood, being in a slightly bad mood, being in a terrible mood, boredom, frustration, irritation, slight irritation, and so on and so forth. Sometimes even being in a great mood would trigger a sugar craving. Because, well, I had to reward myself after all. I hope you get what I'm trying to say here. And for some reason, I believed that once I meet my criteria of personal success, it will be just so easy for me to quit sugar. Now let's talk about this mindset being shifted. It didn't happen overnight. Rather, it was a slow flow process, and I can't quite put a finger on a day when I was like, wow, I have changed. I think that the building blocks of my new mindset were slowly accumulating over the years as I was exposing myself to various books, podcasts, and even YouTube videos. They weren't talking about quitting sugar or anything like that, but just about their journeys through life, what experiences they had, what challenges they had to face or have to face now or in the future. Through that process I learned, and it may sound silly now because of how obvious it is, but anyway, I learned that having personal success doesn't equal being stress-free. I realized that stress, to a certain degree, I'm not talking about chronic stress, is a part of our life, and it is rather impossible to live a completely stress-free life. I realized that stress isn't something I'll be able to avoid or mask, but rather it is something that I will have to recognize and deal with. That was the realization that actually helped me to quit sugar. I realized that stress, and by stress I mean any negative emotion such as sadness, frustration, irritation, and so on, is a part of life. And having a bar of chocolate every time I feel that something isn't precisely the way I want it to be isn't a solution. I realized that sugar doesn't fix anything. It only makes me feel better temporarily while having long-term effects on my body. Because every bite has an accumulating effect, you know. So instead of reaching out to the pantry every time I had a mood swing, I would stop and think to myself what I actually could do to make a situation better. having a cookie will not change anything. Is there something I can do that will have a positive effect on my life? Maybe even something small, it doesn't have to be grand. Every little step counts. For me, it can be as simple as a meditation, writing down a to-do list, journaling, and so on. So this, guys, is my new mindset, and I attribute a lot of success with staying away from sugar to this very mindset shift. There were, of course, some physical aspects of being addicted to sugar that I had to deal with. At the beginning of my sugar-free journey, I still had pretty intense cravings, but they were easier to overcome because I had this clarity that my new mindset gave me. There were other things that, in combination with my new way of thinking, helped me to begin, as well as stick to, my sugar-free lifestyle. I filmed a video about it, which will be linked in the description down below. I suppose that all of us can find reasons to justify just that one sugary bite yet again. Maybe your reasoning is different from mine described in this video, but I hope that my story inspired you, and I hope it will help you to start your sugar-free journey. It is totally possible, and I can with all honesty say that I don't miss having sugar. Yeah, I don't miss having sugar at all. With all that being said, this is it for today's video, guys. I hope you liked it, and if so, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more sugar-free videos. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.